Hi guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the Make It Easy podcast. My name is Shalomeni, and in case you're new here, thank you for being here. I hope you loved the episode we had last week with Zian about creating a legacy, and just I hope you learned something, and I hope that you're implementing it and practicalizing it in your everyday journey. So today, before I introduce my guest, guys, this is episode 8. We are only 2 episodes to finishing season 2, and it feels so good. Thank you everyone for being part of this journey. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that apart from just being part of this community, that you're getting to learn things with each and every episode, each and every guest that you bring on board, that you keep on getting one thing and that you're using it to make your life easier. Because as we said, or as is our mantra here, what we do, we make life easy, one conversation at a time. So today, I want to introduce to you another amazing guest by the name Sam Demma. Karibu sana. Sam, how are you feeling?
I feel amazing.
You feel
Thank
amazing?
you so much for having me on the show.
So tell us, who is Sam? Where is Sam from? What does Sam do?
Well, before I get into it, I just want to say I'm so excited to be here in Kenya. It's been an honor and a privilege to spend time with Brian and Mbwego and Zian and the team. My name is Sam, but my real name is Salvatore.
For real?
For real.
Your name is not Sam?
You didn't know that?
No.
My name is Salvatore.
Salvatore.
That's how you would say it.
Okay.
I'm half Italian, half Greek. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I am an author, a speaker, a former athlete, a podcaster, and above all other things, a human being. And I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Wow, thank you so much for being on set today. It's such a privilege. So today's episode, we'll be talking about from belief to action. So the whole idea of this episode, or the whole gist, is to just talk about how you can move everything from here to now practicalizing it. Yeah. So just to start us off, I want you to tell us, what are some of the beliefs or values that drive you as Salvador?
Fair. I think there's many beliefs, and I've had different phases in my life where different beliefs have been big cornerstones. I had a really great mentor, which we'll talk about a little later in the podcast, and he and I together collaborated on creating a document filled with beliefs that we would use to live our lives.
Yeah.
And I'll share a few of them with you now. One of them was speak kindly to yourself. Like if you and I treated ourselves the way we treated other human beings, we probably feel much better about who we are. You know, because the things we say to ourselves compared to the things we say to others are usually very negative. We have another belief, plant seeds expecting nothing in return, meaning do good for other people, not expecting them to return the favor. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. Another belief I have is competition doesn't need to be competition, it can be collaboration. And so look for opportunities to collaborate. Start a podcast and invite other people on it, just like you are. People at the top, they tend to collaborate. People at the bottom, they tend to compete.
Yeah.
So one of my beliefs is always look for collaboration opportunities instead of competitive opportunities. Another value I have is kindness. I know I talked about it towards self, but it's also important towards others. Like if you have a compliment or something kind to say, you know, it does no one any justice or good if you keep it to yourself. Like, say it to the other person. Like, ni wale yako morembo.
Okay. All right.
Y'all know that one. I'm learning.
You're learning.
So I think those are some of the guiding principles and beliefs that I try my best to live my life by. I also think it's very important that we remind ourselves every single day that it's a gift from God that we're alive, and to remember in those moments of difficulties and challenges that just being here is such a privilege and a big opportunity.
And I love one particular thing that you've said, that we should plant seeds, or you live by the value of planting seeds without expecting anything in return. And I think that is very heavy, because generally as human beings, we want to receive, I want to, when I do this, I want to see how it is going to benefit me as Shalom. So it is very important to know that whatever you're doing, or each and everything that you're doing, do it without expecting anything in return. If it is just, making someone smile or just making someone's day better in whatever capacity. The last episode we are doing with Zian, we are saying that leaving a mark does not have to be like something big, where you do something and everyone, you're like Nelson Mandela, everyone is applauding you. Just make sure you do something, however small, in whatever capacity in whatever opportunity you have, and just make sure that, and you're not expecting anything in return. Yeah, that's very important. So another question, what do you think that your beliefs as some have influenced how you live or everything that you do or your daily life?
Oh, in big ways. I think I could use an analogy to paint a picture of this idea.
Yeah.
Imagine it's pouring rain outside, and two different people wake up, and their goal is to sell something. They're salespeople. One person goes outside, looks at the weather, and says, "Oh my goodness, it's pouring rain. How am I going to make any sales today?" The second person wakes up, goes outside, and goes, "Wow, it's pouring rain outside. You know what that means? All my customers are stuck at home, which means every single door that I knock on, someone's going to answer. And I also know that the lazy salespeople that are not going to go out because it's raining are also going to be home inside.
Yeah.
Today's a massive opportunity. The reality is those two people have the exact same circumstance of the pouring rain outside their window. One person chooses to believe it's an opportunity. The other person chooses to believe it's a big obstacle. And so I think our beliefs lead to our emotions, how we feel. Our emotions lead to our actions, what you and I choose to do, and then our actions lead to our results. And so a perfect example of how a belief has shaped my personal life would be the belief that all of our paths in life are unique and different, and that it's okay. I made a decision to take a break from my university studies to pursue a dream I had that didn't have a direct pathway through schooling. And everyone around me was in school. My parents were like, "Sam,
why are you leaving school?
Yeah, what are you doing?" But this belief of mine is that everyone has a different journey, and it might be different from the people around you. If yours is, it's okay. And because I had that belief and I carried it and I believed it, I allowed myself to take this different life path. And it led to speaking in 3 different countries now, doing over 600 performances. It's led to the person I am today. So I think if I didn't have that belief and didn't trust it, I probably wouldn't be sitting with you here in Kenya.
All right, I want you to tell us more about, yes, you have a belief in something, but people around you are like, because you've mentioned when you wanted to now take speaking as a career and do it full time, many people are like, your parents even are like, "Sam, what are you doing? Why are you leaving this and this?" So how has it been like for you now saying, "Yes, this is what I believe in, I want to do this, and probably I don't have the support that I think I need"? How was it like for you?
I remember when I first told my family and even my grandparents that I wanted to become a speaker, I talked a lot. So my grandma was like, "Sam, I will pay you to stop talking." She was joking, right? And my parents too, they were worried for me. But what I always reminded myself was everyone's beliefs are determined based on their past life experiences. For example, if I wanted to start a restaurant and I walk into a restaurant that's not doing so well, and I ask the owner of that restaurant, "Hey, do you think I should start a restaurant?" What do you think they would tell me? They'd say it's not a good idea.
Start it, yeah.
Okay, what if I walked into another person's restaurant that made the best ugali in Kenya
Nyama choma.
and their business was booming?
Yeah.
And I asked them the same question. Do you think they would tell me to start a restaurant? Yes or no?
Yeah, they will tell you to start a restaurant.
So when my parents gave me feedback or said, "Sam, we don't want you to drop out of school. Sam, when my grandma said, "You're not going to be able to make this your living, make this your life," I asked myself, what past experiences have they had that led to them having this belief?
Yeah.
And the beliefs my parents had were that my grandparents came from Italy and Greece, and education was the thing that saved their lives. A formal education, going to university, was the thing that got them out of poverty and opened doors of opportunities. And so when I looked at it from that perspective, I actually empathized with my parents, because it's not that they want to hold me back, it's that they want what they believe is best for me.
Yeah.
And so I would always keep that in mind. The second thing I would share, if you have a vision and other people don't believe in it, understand that it's your vision.
Yeah.
They don't have to see it because
yeah.
they're not, like, the word vision itself is about being able to see, and they don't have your 2 eyes. No one else has my 2 eyes. No one else has my brain or my heart.
Yeah.
And so when someone says, "I don't think you can do that," I say, "Thank you very much for your perspective. It's my vision, not yours." You know?
I think you said something, and I had that analogy once in the episode that we did. Because you see, when you want to do something, when you have this vision to do something, I don't have to see it as shalom, because so many people are waiting for your yes. So many young children, so many people are waiting for you to just go there, speak hope to them. And if you're not willing or ready to go and do whatever God has called you to do, because everyone, when God was creating us, He was giving each and every one of us unique gifts and talents. Your gift may not be the same as my gift, as someone else's gift. But if you are not willing to move out of your comfort zone, because it is hard, honestly speaking, it is hard. You can attest to that, yeah? Just trying and getting out of that comfort zone with people who are like, no, Sam, you can't do it, Shalom, you can't do it. Many people are waiting for your yes. Many people are waiting for you to just go there, speak hope, speak life into them. And they'll be like, if it were not for Sam, I wouldn't have been here. Yeah? So what strategies do you think you are doing right now, whatever, in your age right now, that you feel are drawing you closer to your goal? Do you feel like you have reached your goal right now at this particular point?
I think it's so important to be content and to be present in this moment, while you still have a future vision and goal.
Yeah.
So many people rob themselves of joy and excitement because they're so focused on this thing that's going to occur 10 or 15 years in the future. And I think that's a poor way of living. Like, every moment is a gift. Every moment is an opportunity to meet new people, to experience good energy and good emotions. And so right now I am definitely happy. I have goals that I have reached, and I have goals that I will continue to strive for. It's interesting. I've been journaling since I was 15 or 16 years old.
Yeah.
I have hundreds of pages of journals. And when I'm feeling ungrateful because I haven't reached my big long-term goal, I go crack open a journal that I wrote down 4 years ago. And what's crazy is that back then, the life that I'm living today is what I used to dream about and journal about. So how can I not be happy and grateful? Steve Harvey says, if you're not grateful for 50,000, you're not going to get 100,000, because gratitude is what brings more blessings into your life. And so I think just reminding myself daily, I might not be where I am hoping to be, in 5 or 10 years, but today where I am is where I was hoping to be 5 years ago. And I'm going to remind myself of that in those moments of difficulty.
Contentment. That's a very big word. And most people, young people maybe, or especially actually, we are not content. Yeah. I see you, Sam, I see someone else doing something, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was doing this. But when you look back, there are so many steps, there's so many things that you've achieved that many people might not know of. But if you just sit down and reflect, you're like, okay, I'm desiring this big thing, but in essence, there are so many things, so many milestones that I have, gone through, and I've been able to be where I am today. Yeah? So it's very important to you who is listening to us, make sure you are content in every step. Take a step back, realize that for you to get to where you are, there are certain milestones that you have gotten. Yeah,
of course.
So
I'm sure you had a dream to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Here we are in this studio, episode number 8.
Episode number 8.
And maybe you have a vision to do a TV show in the future, but you can't be upset that you're doing a podcast today because you want a TV show in the future. You got to sit in this moment and enjoy it.
Baby steps. Yeah. So what for you as Sam? I've forgotten, what's the other name that you said?
Salvatore.
Salvador. Salvador, what is the definition of a meaningful life?
I think the meaning of life is to give life meaning. I think we're always searching for this big purpose. But maybe your purpose in life, having a meaningful life is about putting your best foot forward, your most honest foot forward, taking action every single day on things that make you excited and move you closer to your dreams and goals. And I think it's about, in every moment, just choosing to be present. I think that sometimes when we spend our time searching for meaning and we don't find an answer, because it's very hard to figure it all out, we beat ourselves down. And so I think making your meaning of life as simple as possible would be helpful. And so for me, I would just say it's living with purpose, living with intention, putting my best foot forward, being honest, and helping the people around me.
All right. So I'm sure in your journey of becoming, or in your journey up to this point, you have had quite a number of setbacks, yeah? So at the top of your mind, how did you handle those obstacles? And if you're free to share, you can share some of the obstacles and how you are able to pull through the setbacks.
Yeah. Growing up, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. I pursued that dream since I was 5 years old. I was actually moved to Italy for 6 months by a professional club to try and bring the dream to life at the age of 13. I came back home from that trip. I was 15 pounds heavier from the pizza and pasta.
Oh, really?
And being in that professional environment just proved to me that it was possible,
Yeah.
that I could become a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And I sacrificed everything about my high school experience, like no parties, no video games, no girlfriends. That one was difficult. But sacrifice pays off at some point.
Sacrifice is such a big thing. You know, for you to get to where, just to veer you off a bit, for you to get to where you want to be, there are so many things. And even for me right now, at the top of my head, I can think of so many things that I have had to sacrifice for me to get, well, I'm not where I want to be maybe, but there's so many things that I've had to give up along the way. And I think that is very hard for young people, because we feel, yes, I want to achieve this, but I want to do it while every other thing, you know, while I'm still pursuing every other thing. So this is to tell you that in your journey of becoming, there are so many things that you'll have to sacrifice. Can be friendships that maybe don't serve you anymore. Can be, you know, relationships, places you go to. So make sure, identify what you want to achieve and identify the kind of sacrifice that you need to take for you to get there. Yeah?
And I believe when you have a vision, when you have a burning desire, you and I, we don't even see it as a sacrifice. We see it as a stepping stone. It's like, this is a required step to bringing my dream to life. And if you're not willing to give up those things, you're lying to yourself. It's not important to you. So choose a different vision, or decide today that it's time for those things to be removed from your life, and make those sacrifices. For me, the sacrifices were many, just like yourself. And at some point, the sacrifices get replaced with progress, right? You sacrifice something, now you have a podcast. And for me, the sacrifice was replaced with a full ride soccer scholarship to a Division I school in the United States. For me, that was a dream come true. That was the first step toward one day playing professional soccer. I remember calling my dad after I got the email, bawling my eyes out on the phone. And within 2 weeks, I went on what's called an official visit. This is when they pay for the flight, they fly you down to the school, they give you a tour in the hope that it convinces you to go back the following year. I finished that tour, the coach said, we're gonna come watch you play one more time before we sign the paperwork. My family couldn't afford to send me to this international school. The tuition was extremely expensive. But if I got a scholarship, they'd pay for all 4 years, including every expense. And they had to watch me play one more time before making the decision. And I ended up tearing the cartilage in my left knee about a week before the tournament they were going to watch me play in. And the next 2 years of my life, I tore the cartilage in my left knee a second time, and my right knee, and some of the labrum, which is the cartilage in your right hip. I had 2 operations. I spent about 2.5 years trying to get back on the field before deciding it's probably in my best interest mentally and physically to just stop playing soccer. And that was probably one of the most challenging times in my life, because I felt like my self-worth as a human being was totally gone. You know, maybe you weren't an athlete growing up. Maybe the listeners of this don't play soccer. But every single one of us, we attach our self-worth to something. And when we feel like we can't do that thing anymore, we sometimes convince ourselves that we as human beings are worthless. And that's what I did. I thought that if I couldn't play soccer, I had no value to provide the world. And it took me a very long time to realize that our talents, achievements, and accomplishments don't define our self-worth as human beings. That God created us in His unique image, all very special. And He didn't say, if you're not an athlete, you're a failure. That's words that we impose on ourselves. The thing that helped me the most in that challenge was a teacher. His name was Mr. Loudfoot. Loudfoot.
Okay.
And he taught me that lesson. He also shared that life has thousands of games. And when one game ends, you can start playing a new one. He taught me that your hard work is never a waste, because it builds your character. And your character can never be taken away from you. So don't ever think that if something doesn't work out, the energy you put into it wasn't a success. It absolutely was. It's something you carry in your backpack for the rest of your life. And so I think it was my teacher, my family, some of my friends, and also reading books and listening to podcasts that really pulled me through that challenging time and helped me reinvent my identity as a human being.
And you've mentioned your teacher, and I've heard you mention friends. So do you think having people, a community rather, around you makes it easier?
100%. Someone once gave me the analogy of a chair having 4 legs. It's like if you only had one leg, one person for support, and they're not able to help, you fall over. But if you have 4 legs, you know, you have friends, you have family, you have teachers, you have mentors, you have books. In those moments where you're struggling, you can refer to those things for words of wisdom. One of my great inspirations is a guy named Jim Rohn. I listen to his YouTube lectures when I'm feeling down. And his philosophies and ideas really help recenter myself and move forward.
All right. So it is important to have people around. You can't wing it. Yeah. You can't say, yes, I have this vision. I have this. I want to do it by myself. You are not able to do it alone, as you've said. Yeah.
100%.
So I want you to tell me about the process of you getting to where you are. You've had to acknowledge some small wins and celebrate small wins. So how important is it to celebrate small wins? Because I feel we have like we have mentioned, we have like a bigger picture. This is what I want to achieve by the time I'm this is what I want to achieve when I get to this particular point. But when you look keenly, there are so many small details or wins rather that you have accomplished. So do you think it's important, and why is it important to celebrate the small wins as they come?
I believe if we don't celebrate the small wins, if we don't recognize ourselves, it's most often because we're looking for that validation from external sources.
Yeah.
So we're looking for other people to tell us how amazing we are. And sometimes they will. But I believe if lots of people are giving you external validation and saying you're amazing and you're not celebrating yourself, I think that's what leads to imposter syndrome. I think that's the root cause of us not feeling worthy and enough. I think we have to celebrate ourselves just as much as other people in our lives celebrate us.
Yeah.
And so for me, my first ever speech, I filmed it, showed my friends. Yo, look at this. Looking back, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible. But for me, it mattered. For me, it was important. And my friends noticed that, so they celebrated me alongside my own recognition. When I released my book, I did a book launch and invited all my friends and family. I was like, yo, look at this thing. check out this 180 pages, right? These are my words. These are my thoughts. You might not read it, but it's okay.
But it's my book.
But it's my book. Like, check it out. You know? I celebrated the first time I ever flew somewhere on an airplane for a speech. I still remember it to this day. We got a booking request. And at the time, I was working with my friend Dylan. And I called him up. I'm like, bro, the event is like, it's going to be a 12-hour drive. Do you think we should ask them if they could, like, fly us there? He's like, bro, I don't know if they're going to be willing to pay us to do that. I'm like, well, why don't we just try? So we sent an email. I'm like sweating. I'm like, hey, you think we could get some economy tickets to go to this event? They respond back.
You're not asking for economy. You're not
Literally,
asking for
like the cheapest Flair Airlines. You know, let's just book the most inexpensive flight. She responds back, no worries. I'm popping champagne. I'm like, bro, let's go. You know, we celebrate these little moments.
Yeah.
And I mean, I look for opportunities to celebrate myself, to celebrate other people every single day. And it's kept me excited about the journey. It's kept me excited about moving forward and building new things and launching new projects. This whole trip is a celebration.
Yeah, it is. Congratulations to you, the three of you, Zian and Brian.
I've used them well. It's true, but I believe celebration is so important, and we don't have to wait for other people to celebrate us, that we should celebrate ourselves every step of the journey.
Wow, and you mentioned about your book, Empty Your Backpack. And I want you to just give us a gist of what the book is about and why empty your backpack. What was going on in your head? And I think I've watched some of your videos. You walk around some big, giant backpack. And I'm like, I usually wonder, what do you carry in there? What is normally in that backpack, first of all?
It's all my math textbooks.
Math textbooks?
No. The backpack is an analogy for our minds.
Yeah.
So in the backpack, we carry around our thoughts, our beliefs, our opinions, the words other people say to us, right? Sometimes we can get 1,000 positive compliments and we get one negative one. Which one do we remember?
The one.
That's the negative one that we carry in our backpack that we have to let go of, right? We get advice from people in our lives. Some people tell us we're never going to make it, right? Those words we carry in our backpacks. We have to try our best to let go of those things, to enable ourselves to move forward and pursue the person we're supposed to be and the things we want to accomplish. I actually love the idea so much that I got an upside down backpack tattooed on my left arm.
Oh, even in your shirt, you guys. I need my sweatshirt.
We got branded up.
You give me one sweatshirt.
Hey, if we're gonna give you one.
All right.
But if anyone wants to buy one, they can contact Brian and Buego. We're gonna give 50% of the proceeds to you, so you can continue producing the podcast. You heard it here first. Make it easy, okay? So the backpack became an analogy and a mission, a book, a way to live your life. And I think it's a daily challenge. Because every single day, there's going to be something that's said or a thought that pops in our head that's not serving who we are. And it's about pausing in that moment and deciding, no, I'm not going to allow that thing to change the way I see myself. I'm not going to allow that thought to stop me from showing up or sitting in the seat and doing the interview, even if I'm sweating and nervous. Like, I'm going to empty my backpack. So that's really where the concept started, and it was inspired by a conversation with a high school student who was struggling with his well-being and his own self-image. And when I got to the root of the problem, he told me that it was because he was being bullied in school. And I thought about the times in my life where people said negative things to me and how long I carried their thoughts and opinions. And when I thought about carrying, I thought, you know, everyone carries backpacks. So why don't I talk about emptying your backpack?
Wow.
And so then I sat down and I started writing a book, and half of the book is about beliefs, like mindset shifts that'll help you empty your backpack, and the other half of the book is about actions that'll move you forward to your dreams or goals. I have a statement. I say, like, actions speak louder than words, but results speak louder than both. So if someone is really saying, you know, you're not going to make it, it's not going to work out, one of the best things you could do is get some results. And don't have to even shove it in their face. They're going to see it. You know, just get some results. I remember the first time a check arrived in the mail for a speech. My dad opened it and he was like, Sam, you got some mail. Sam, you got some, it's working. Like, it's actually working, you know? Mind you, it was like, I don't know, 100 shillings. But I was like, yo, someone paid me. You know, that's another thing to celebrate. Nothing to celebrate.
That's nice. And do you think, so you've said it's the whole writing the book and the title came about when you talked to this high school kid and everything. So before then, do you think carrying people's thoughts and you know, everything that they say about you, do you think it was a problem to you in retrospect now?
100%. I think I cared a lot about what other people thought about me. It's one of the reasons why at a party I wouldn't dance as much as I wanted to. I was always nervous about people looking at me on the dance floor. Today, let's go dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that living a life based on other people's thoughts and opinions is a waste of a life. Because it's like you're not even being who you truly want to be. Like, you have gifts and talents, but you're hiding them because of other people's opinions and perspectives. We have to let go of those thoughts and opinions. And it was definitely the conversation with the student that made me reflect on myself and also on him, and created the whole concept of the backpack as an analogy for our minds.
That's very profound, because I think even for me, even before when I wanted to start this podcast, so of course, most of you know, I started in my room with just my phone. And one thing that was really that really made me feel so scared of coming to this whole YouTube space was, what if that one person says, what's wrong with this girl? What's she saying? What does she think she has to say that you can listen to? You know. So I was very skeptical, and I was like, oh my, I really held myself back for the longest time. If I was to start the podcast the beginning of 2023, but just postponing it and postponing it and postponing it, I ended up starting it in June, because in my head I was thinking, what if someone comes and says something negative? You know, how am I going to handle that? How am I going to handle any opinion that anyone has to say about me? But I think over time I've come to understand that not everyone will like you, Sam. Not everyone will want to hear what you have to say, and that's okay, because even Jesus was not liked by everyone. No one will like you 100%. But that's not the problem. The problem is if you let that define you. If you know you have something to offer, it does not matter if people don't see it. You know it, you believe in it, you believe in your purpose, you believe in your vision, then that's cool. People will see results. That just as you've said, results will speak louder. So make sure each and every time, each and every spot, each and every point that you are, make sure that you are so focused on the results. Because if you're starting and you're like, okay, what will someone say? What will someone think? They will have something to say. So you just do it, wing it. You will definitely get to work it out.
I could not agree more. Like you said, it's not people's words about us that stop us from pursuing our lives. It's what you and I choose to believe about their words that makes a difference. If someone tells me, Sam, you're not a speaker, you suck, you're terrible, I know that I show up every single day. I know who I am. I know my abilities, and I know my gifts and talents. Their words are things that I can't control, but what you and I can control is what we choose to believe and how we allow those words to change the way we see ourselves. Here's something else to remember. When you start pursuing your gifts and talents, you become a mirror to other people. And if you're gonna do something, you're gonna boldly pursue a future passion that you have, and that other person is not willing to boldly pursue their dreams and their passions because they're sitting on the sidelines in their own life. Looking at you is gonna blind them. You're a bright light and a mirror to the things that they're not doing themselves. So no wonder they're hating on you. And when you build the biggest tower in town, it's gonna cast shade on somebody. And there's two ways other people think about it. They're like, oh, I could build a big tower myself, or I could just tear Shalom's tower down. And most people side with that one because it's the easier thing to do. So keep being bigger, keep shining your light bright, keep being a mirror, you know? And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to everybody. Don't settle, don't stop.
Wow. So tell us, you've had mentors in your journey of just becoming who you are and the person you are today. What role or what is that one or two thing that you've learned from your mentors that you feel like this was very profound and it came at a very good time when I was probably struggling or, you know, trying to balance things? So what is that thing that maybe your mentor has taught you or has been telling you that you feel you need to share with us here?
I've had so many mentors. My parents are first top of mind. They've had a profound impact on my life. As much as I joke about my journey and my grandma telling me she's going to pay me to stop talking, they believed in me every step of the way. They've been my biggest supporters throughout my entire career, even when I was a soccer player. I remember my dad cried just as much as me when I stopped playing because he loved watching it. It was like living through me. I've had speaking coaches. I've had friends who at times of need have shown up in my life, and it seems very spontaneous. It seems like God or the universe just like popped them there in the right moments. And one of those moments was a gentleman named Chris. And Chris was a mentor of mine for 3 years. I'd have a phone call with him every single Tuesday for 2 hours. And he taught me so much. I think one of the biggest things that he taught me was, it was in relation to sales. So I have a business, and the piece of advice he gave me was that sales is not about selling a product, it's about serving another human being. It's about helping people. And if you can't help them, that it's okay. And it changed the way that I looked at my business. It changed the way that I pursued the work I was doing. And it was one of the cornerstone lessons that he taught me that put my life on a totally different trajectory. And as the lights go off here, I'll tell you about another person. Hey, we're back from the break. Chris was one of the big mentors in my life. So he taught me that sales was about service, not about selling things or like pushing people to spend their money on your services or products. Another thing that he shared with me that I think's had a tremendous impact is the importance of taking care of yourself. So Chris had a belief that before business, before your God-given gifts, before all that, you have to have health. Because if you don't have your health, you can't pursue anything else. So he helped me realize how important consistency was and exercising each day. You can ask anyone on the tour. I wake up every morning and do 30 minutes of yoga. And Brian's just started joining me, and he's sweating, he's struggling through it. We're like, it's something that's important to me. Journaling every single day. It's another thing, a lesson or an idea I got from a mentor that's changed my life. And your life is worth capturing. So write down some of the things you're doing, your thoughts, and maybe one day you can share it with your kids. Because
it's very important about taking care of your mental wellness and your health, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
100%.
You want to be there for people. I think I was giving this analogy in one of the episodes, that most of us want to be Superman. You want to be that person who is there for people. Someone has a problem, I'll be there, I'll solve it. I'll be there for you. But one thing you forget is that Superman, you know Superman, right? Superman.
Come on.
It's okay. Superman had his time to be Clark Kent. He was not 100% 24-hour Superman. He was Clark Kent, where he was able to be vulnerable. He was able to be with his friends. He was able to, be able to depend on others. So for you, you can't do this journey alone. You can't be Superman all the time, the one who's always there for people, helping out people. You need people around you. And that can be mentors, because I think it's Isaac Newton, if I'm not wrong, who says, we see far because we stand on the shoulders of giants. So you don't expect to just wake up one day and like, I want to be the best artist, I want to be the best speaker, I want to be the best author, or whatever it is, whatever career or line you're in. You need people to hold your hand. You need people to tell you, this is the path to follow. This is the mistakes I did, so don't go through this route, take this other route. You need people in your life.
I could not agree more. You can't stay in the dark. You need people to bring you out the dark places, right? Every once in a while, we find ourselves in darkness, and we can't stay there, right? I think sometimes, too, the things that hold us back sometimes appear like they're keeping us safe. You know, have you seen the Batman movies?
I don't think so.
It's okay. She only knows Superman.
I've seen Superman.
In the Batman movies, there's a scene where Batman gets cast into a jail, and it's this massive jail that goes 500 feet into the ground, and they have these cells. And the only way to get out of the jail is to climb and scale the side of the wall to the top. People try every single day. Some of them fall to their death, they pass away, but they have a rope. It's like really long rope that you can tie to your waist. So as you're climbing the wall trying to get out of this jail, if you do fall, the rope will catch you, and you won't die. Batman tries with the rope on. Climb the wall, fails. Saves his life from the rope. Tries again with the rope, fails. Tries a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, starts getting angry. He finally says, you know what? I've tried 5 times. He's talking to the guy beside him in his jail cell. I've tried 5 times, I'm never gonna get out of here. And the guy whispers to him, you gotta do it without the rope. You gotta jump without the rope. Right? He's like, the rope is not keeping you safe, it's holding you back. And so Batman, sure enough, trains really hard, tries a 6th time without the rope. This time his life is on the line. If he doesn't make it out, he's gonna die. Sure enough, he climbs the wall, makes a big jump, catches it with one hand. It's gotta be really
So
dramatic because it's a
dramatic,
movie. You know, like, and he makes it out. And so I thought about that in my own life. I'm like, what are the things that I believe are keeping me safe that are actually holding me back? And I think it's a good question to ask ourselves every single day.
Yeah.
And that's something that a mentor shared with me that really changed my perspective.
And I think still on that thought, there's a story that is told of an elephant that is tied to a tree. A young elephant is tied to a tree. The leg, yeah, tied to a tree. So that elephant has been tied there for like the longest time. You know, when it was still like a young elephant. Many years later, the elephant is still tied there with food around, still tied to the tree. Now the elephant is big. If it wants to, it can be able to break away from the tree, but it doesn't. So one day someone is walking by and he asks someone who is guarding now the elephant, why is this elephant still tied here? You know, it has stayed here, probably the grass has ended. Why is this elephant still seated here? Why can't it go and get food? Then something that this man said, very profound, is that this elephant has been taught since it was young that it cannot break from this rope. You know, it cannot break from this rope. So it does not know it is big now. It is big. If it wants to, within one shake, it can easily, you know, untie itself. So it does not know. That is why it is not moving. And I thought about it. That is us human beings very many times. We are tied to this mental, I don't know, something is holding us back. We feel like we cannot, break out of it because it has been tying us back for a long time. But one thing we are denying, or one thing that we are not realizing, is that we have grown. Can be mentally, can be spiritually, can be physically. So if you just try it one more time, like if this elephant knew, I'm an elephant. You know how big an elephant is? Like just one shake, you'll fall down some. You know, so big. But this elephant is still tied to a small tree, thinking that it cannot get out. So how many times do we have mental or things that are just tying our minds? We're like, we cannot do this. I can't do this. I'm too young. I can't. Zian said that being young is actually, it's not a liability. Being young is what we have the energy and we're able to do things. So many times we tie ourselves to situations, to maybe we close doors for ourselves. An opportunity is coming and like, nah, I can't do it. I'm too young. I'm not talented enough. So this is to tell you that you need to realize that some of the doors that you feel are closing, you're the one who is closing them for yourself. Because you can actually do it if you try, like the way the dramatic Batman story. If you only jump, or if you only just make a decision to do it, trust you me, you will do it. It won't be very easy, but one step at a time, it gets easier, right? So I want us to talk about the importance of friends. Because now you're in Kenya with 2 amazing friends of yours, Brian and Zian. So the importance of having friends while being in our journey of pursuing our purpose.
I'll give you a real current example.
Yeah.
Yesterday there was demonstrations in CBD in Nairobi.
CBD.
I'm a tourist here. I would have been downtown if I didn't have friends.
Yeah.
But I had a friend named Kamata, one of Brian's mentors, who said, we're not staying in the city, y'all. Let's go to Gatondo. Gatundo. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best, okay? I'm really trying. And otherwise, I had a friend, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Who knew more than I did.
Yeah.
Who said, let's get out of the city, let's go visit the village. And his grandfather was there. And so he took us in his car and we left and we had a beautiful day. If I didn't have friends, I wouldn't have had that experience.
I've gone to CBD.
Sorry?
You'll have gone to CBD where the protests.
I would have been in danger.
Yeah.
So here's a physical current example. Like
Yeah.
everyone has different experiences and different perspectives. So they're gonna assist you in many different ways. I also think that life is not just about pursuing your dreams and goals and spending every ounce of your energy becoming this amazing human being that you aspire to be. Yo, it's also about having fun.
Yeah.
Like I had a neighbor, okay? Growing up, I would cut his grass because I need to make some money so I could pursue my dreams of playing professional soccer, and no one would hire me because I had too many practices.
Yeah.
So I made a piece of paper that said Salvatore's grass cutting service, and I dropped it in all my neighbors' mailboxes. One neighbor hired me to cut his grass. Turns out my dad was paying him to pay me to cut his grass.
For real?
Yeah. But I was like, yo, it's an opportunity. Nonetheless, I'm gonna take it serious. I cut the grass every single week. We became good friends. His name is Ruel. When I launched my book, he was the first person on our street that bought 4 copies. One for him, one for his wife, 2 for his kids. His kids are 3 years old. I'm like, bro, no disrespect. They're not going to understand the content.
Yeah.
He's like, it's going to go in their subconscious minds. I'm like, okay, bro.
All right.
Give me the money. He bought the books.
Yeah.
He read it, I guess. A few months later, he's standing on the edge of his driveway, waving me over. So I walk across the street. He's like, bro, the book was so inspiring. I'm like, really? He's like, it put my kids to sleep. I'm like, can you write that as a review on Amazon, please? And he's like, no, seriously.
Yeah.
I just got promoted at work to one of the senior partners. I'm like, damn, like, because of my book? He's like, no. He's like, but your book inspired me to do something else.
Yeah.
It inspired me to quit my job. And I was like, please don't tell your wife that you read my book.
Don't show my name.
Yeah, man. And he got up from, we were now sitting in front of his house on a porch. He got up and he walked to his garage door and he punched in his passcode. The garage door went up and there were 60 bikes hanging on the wall. And he started explaining to me that his dad's dream was for him to climb the corporate ladder, but his dream was to fix bicycles. That's all he wanted to do since he was a little kid. And he started pointing at bikes on the wall and telling me that he started his own bike shop. It's been 8 months. And it's more successful than his work was that he'd been climbing the corporate ladder for 27 years. And he became so excited, like almost like a little kid when they open a present on a birthday or something. And as I was leaving his garage, he looked at me and he's like, what's in your garage? And I was like, garbage bags. No, he looked at me and I asked him, I was like, how did you do this? And he was like, I stopped playing for the points and I started playing for the love of the game. And it just hit me like a wall of bricks because I've been so focused on the next sale and the next speaking engagement. It's like, what about having fun and enjoying life? What about going out with your friends? I think that's where my friends have helped me the most, and smacking me and saying, bro, you've been working 24 hours for the past like 4 years. You want to go kick a ball around at the field for a minute? Like, do you want to go downtown and have some fun? You want to come eat some nyama choma and nugali? Like, come to our backyard?
Yeah.
And so this trip for me being in Kenya was a total let go of the steering wheel. I'm like, I'm just going to be the passenger princess. I'm going to let my friends dictate where we go. I'm going to just show up. And I think that's really the big value of friends, to remind you things that you're not seeing yourself. Because when you're in the picture, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, that's very important. You need friends, guys, and intentional friends, yeah?
You also need friends that don't yap as much as me. You know, friends that listen to you, that help you through difficult situations.
Very profound. So as we wind up, Sam, what do you want to be remembered for in the next 10 years? When people talk about Alejandro, you said Alejandro is the name?
Salvador.
Salvador. What
are you doing? Hiya! What, guy?
Salvador. What do you want to be remembered for in the next 10 years? When we are talking about Salvador, what do you want people to think about?
I'm going to fast forward to when I die, when I pass away.
Yeah.
I want people to show up to my funeral and say, Sam was someone who gave away game. Like, he would just call me out of the blue and just tell me, like, things that changed my life. I want them to say Sam was generous and gave beyond his means. I want people to say that he was someone who lived out his potential. He didn't waste any of it. He became everything he was supposed to become. I want people to say that he made me laugh. He made me smile. He made me want to dance. He made me want to enjoy life. He made me want to try new foods. I want people to say that he loved deeply, not only his friends, but also his family and his kids, if I'm blessed to have a family. I want people to say that Sam or Salvatore Demma was a beautiful human being.
Wow, guys, the same thing for me. The same thing for me. So I think we have come to the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Sam, for just pouring your heart out and being so open and candid and funny on this episode. I'm sure I have learned a lot. I don't know about you, and I'm sure you have learned a lot as well as our audience here. They have really learned a lot. So guys, see you next episode. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, comment. On to the next one.